start by asking you a question. What do most people like to do in their free time? Don't say it out loud, just think in your head. But the majority of that answer, 54% of Americans, like to watch TV. And what are they watching? They're watching sports. And when you think of those sports, most people typically don't think about diversity. Even though an overwhelming majority of people of color participate in the major sports professional organizations. So what is diversity? Merriam-Webster defines diversity as something different, a condition of being composed of different elements. But diversity in the real world could be racial, could be socioeconomic, could be gender diversity. But specifically in the NFL, MLB, NBA, NCAA, an overwhelming number of people of color and minorities participate in these sports. We've seen recently particular issues that happen when professionals do not understand this diversity in the industry and what they represent. So why is this topic important to communication? These professionals should understand how to effectively communicate with not only their publics, which would be the viewers, fans of the game, but also their employees, which are the coaches and the players. And so where have we seen this a problem? First, with the Kaepernick situation. How many people know what happened with Colin Kaepernick? Let me just see by a show of hands. Okay, so a majority of people. So Colin Kaepernick, still to this day, has not signed with an NFL team. And we all know the story. This has been a result of the anthem policy. But not before the anthem policy, Kaepernick kneeled. And kneeling means something for different Americans. America is a country comprised of different immigrants, different racial groups, and with that comes different political beliefs. So whether you disagreed or agreed with Colin Kaepernick, a lot of people believe that he should have still had a job within the NFL. This issue came with a collusion case and most recently has been settled. But to even rewind even further, how do you think the NFL handled this situation? Most particularly, how do you think the communications department handled this situation? There were times where the NFL tweeted policies, sent out press releases, and then subsequently, tried to work with their players to rectify the situation. But in best practices, you would think that would probably come first. So that becomes a good segue into our best practices for diversity of sports communications. I want to break that down into 3 topics. First, understanding. Second, employees within the organization who understand. And third, employee research groups. And from now on, I'll refer to that as ERGs. And so for the understanding piece, employees who work for organizations such as the NFL, the MLB, or the NBA must understand that much of their percentage of their players are African American. Specifically in America, we're speaking from that perspective. And so if there's a policy that directly inhibits their freedom of expression, this should be carefully and intentionally thought out. In the NFL's case, I'll go back to them because they're a prime example. Understanding that your players would feel and have concerns with the policies could have been avoided. So let's go back to understanding. How do we begin this understanding? This leads to our second point. A person in the office who directly communicates with the players. Not the Players Association's representatives, not something controlling or concerning the contracts, but someone who is committed to providing safe spaces for the players. This could be a diversity and inclusion officer, or this could be someone in the communications department that specializes in these sort of communications. Companies have done that now. We see these new executive suites having a chief diversity officer. We think that professional sports organizations can do something similar. Further, this brings me to the third point, ERGs. These ERGs are most commonly found in Fortune 500 companies, but major sports organizations can also adopt these practices, not only for a safe space for the players, but for communications professionals to conduct focus groups and other research and testing. Hopefully, communication professionals and other major sports organizations can adopt these practices. Thank you for